anyone wondering, we're gonna have her. This is this little elf character I've done a few drawings of. I don't know why, she's always starting like tavern brawls. In my head, I think she's a total badass and she knows it, so she just doesn't back down from anyone trying to start shit, especially if it's a couple of orcs. And this is just one of the. This is a silly character. It's not a serious character. Like, she wears ridiculously skimpy clothing. This is more just when I feel like just having some fun. Like, I don't know if she goes into the taverns and then just like has a little too much ale or something and starts shit, maybe. Ah, that's too bad. Yes, Sarah, the blonde one. Sylvial is her name. We can call her Syl for short if we want. I know I'd done one of her, like, taking out a couple of orcs, which I totally forgot about until I found it literally minutes before the stream, but oh well. Well, I'll be back on Monday night, Begor, so hopefully you can hang out then. She is a fun character. I have no idea, like, what the hell kind of, like, if I ever wanted to do an actual story, it would be challenging because I don't know how you take her seriously, and it wouldn't have to be a serious story, I suppose, right? Realistically, I mean, Conan, you know, I mean, just that pulp kind of deal, right? He was very serious, but there's only, like, you can't take the stories that seriously, right? Yeah, I feel like she just goes into places where she knows that either they don't like elves or something, because she's just always starting shit. In her little braided leather bikini thing. I always think it's interesting, like not just having, you know, often like a female protagonist, and you could probably, you know, do a similar thing with just like a much more slightly built male protagonist, or just you know, whatever, a smaller protagonist. It's just interesting because they can't always, you know, rely on the same things to get them out of trouble, right? But in this case, it is kind of fun to play with the fact that, like, who knows, maybe she's just like, you know, lightning quick. So she knows that she just doesn't care what size her opponent is, because she knows that she's going to be quicker than they are. Which is my only justification, really, for not giving her any actual armor. It's just like, you know. I mean, she's so small as well. Like, she's very slim and all that. So even with armor, if she took a hit, it would probably just do a lot of damage, even with armor on. So what's the point, right? She's quicker than they are, so might as well use it. Yeah, we had anyone in the LA area, I'm sure felt the earthquake last night. Epicenter was particularly close to me, so even though it was only like a 4.5 or 4.6, man, felt that thing. It was super short though, it was only like 10 seconds, but felt bigger than a 4.6, but I don't think I've ever been that close to the epicenter before, so it was a little different experience. I was still up reading. It hit, I don't know what time it was, 11:30 or something like that. It's pretty late, but I was still up reading and I had the window open, so I heard it coming before I felt it. Not many things quite sound like an earthquake coming toward you. So, you know, had enough time to just get under the doorway. Of course, the cat just bolts under the bed. She fucking hates earthquakes. Actually, what she did was she went out into the hall, like, creeping all low, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And then the earthquake hit and the whole building shakes, and she just, like, gets down on her belly and like scrabbles to the bedroom and under the bed. And poor thing. She hates it. Thunder, lightning, doesn't bother her. Earthquakes, for some reason, do it. I mean, I get it, not for some reason, but I just don't know why thunder and lightning don't bug her at all. Let's figure out where we want this lighting from. Tavern, so probably either, you know, probably candles and wall sconces, and I feel like that's always the reason I choose a tavern, is because I know that I can get like fun, moody lighting. Yeah, I mean, you know, the shitty thing with hearing it coming, and I mean, whatever, it is what it is. On one hand, it's nice to have the warning, but the downside is until it hits, you just don't know how big it's gonna be, you know, because it's like all you're hearing is that rumble, the very deep rumble that is sort of coming from everywhere in a way. Like it's not directional, like say a big truck where you could look and pinpoint where it's coming from. It's because it's a big wave, right? So and like if you've ever been outside with an earthquake, you know you can actually see the ground like rippling toward you. And I'm always amazed that they don't do more damage with the ground moving like that. But yeah, you don't really know how. I forgot her. I didn't really draw her with. I feel like I first started drawing her before I was drawing the bigger elf ears. Doesn't matter really, but yeah. So I mean, you know, at least it gives you some warning, and you can hopefully get to a safe place. But it does suck because you don't know how big it's gonna be. You don't know how long it's gonna last. Because it can be a small one, but if it lasts for a long time, it can do more damage. You know. I mean, 4.6 isn't tiny. Like I've felt the hell out of it. For sure. But, you know, born and raised in California. Kind of, they are what they are. Whereas, like, I've never been in a hurricane or tornado. Like, to me, those things, tornadoes more than anything, to me, are just seem like really terrifying. Just seeing pictures of some of those supercells and wall clouds and just the sheer scale of those things spinning, all funneling down to all that power in that much, much smaller area. And it's like, holy crap. I also kind of like the idea of the species, you know, like not being inherently like evil, you know, so a tavern where you could find humans and elves and orcs and that kind of stuff, right? But maybe orcs are just very hot-blooded and they like to start shit. Right? They're like Klingons. Klingons were basically just space orcs. Figure out the figure out his proportions a little bit. beady eyes. I just want to adjust the angle of that blade just a little bit. I think I'll put that blade in after I get, because I got to figure out where it could actually sit without having to be like in his throat already. Has been a little crazy season with all the fires and earthquakes and who knows what else. Pandemics. Crazy times we are living in here. Oh, right on. Yeah. Have fun. That sounds like a good time. A good time. This arm up a little. He's like, oh shit. Big or not, that blade could just slice his throat. He knows it. Sometimes when the pencils get a little too short, it just bugs me, so... Like, I'll still use them for certain things, because I try not to waste them too much, but... I don't like it when they get too short. Alright, let's figure out what's causing the lighting. then if we want it, I feel like we want some lighting visible, but maybe the main light source could be like a wall sconce that's off, you know, over here to the right somewhere. It was just so I can kind of figure out my lighting design, you know. That kid upstairs just loves to stomp around. I don't remember stomping around as much as a kid. Granted, I had a whole big farm to go run around on, so that's, you know, different scenario. Man, I have to do one more thing for the book this weekend, and that is basically put a bio together. I hate those things. I hate doing it. But apparently, like, you know, people like them. People like to know a bit about the artist. I get that. I would kind of rather have something that just talks about, like, because it's all pretty much all sketches, and I'd kind of rather have something that talks about, you know, sketching and what sketching means to me. And I just think bios are so boring. But, I mean, whatever. If I think about it and the amount of art books that I've read where, I am just curious, like, what's the background of the artist? And, you know, like, where do they put those skills to practice? And so I get it. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how can I make it interesting? That's the challenge, I think. Think of how high or low I want this wall sconce, just because that'll sort of determine the shadow on her cloak, cape, cloak, whatever. And we're having a Golden State cider. Actually, they're based in my hometown, Sebastopol, up in Northern California. Look at those ingredients: apple juice, malic acid, and yeast. That's what I like. So they don't use any artificial sugars. They rely on the sugar that's naturally in the apples. This one is done with a champagne yeast, so it's a really nice dry cider that has a slight champagne flavor to it, and it's delicious. I highly recommend it. So, I'm trying to decide if he just has, I think he just has like sort of, I forget what those things are called. It's not a sash, but it's kind of a sash just tied around the midriff there. And then just some animal skin thing. Hey, TC Plus, thanks for following. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'll try and get through this I don't actually need the rough to be that tight. I just want to get the basic composition in. But a lot of this stuff, kind of once I start finishing it out, it all kind of falls into place on its own. So it pretty much just draws itself. No, not really. It's not watercolor. So for the most part, I'm going to be trying to, on the streams, try to keep them to stuff that's relevant to projects that I'm trying to just like nudge forward inch by inch. I have, I think, a couple too many going, so I feel like I should figure out a couple to put on the back burner and just focus on some. But I think, you know, every now and then I just get the urge to draw something, and you know, it's better to fight it or not fight it and just run with it rather than fighting it and probably just forcing another piece too much. You know, we don't like to do that. So let's get, we always need a couple of onlookers, right? And we need onlookers, and then we always need some kind of like overturned furniture to hint at whatever this fight was. That I don't know if she starts the fights per se, but I feel like she maybe antagonizes a little bit more than she really should. Meaning, if she wanted to remain completely innocent. Get a metal tie around the overturned table. We can hint at some spilled drink flowing down, and who knows what else. Hey, Jelinek, how are you doing? Yeah, I watched for a little bit, and then I had to run out and get groceries and do laundry and stuff. So, and then I got back just in time to make lunch and finish it before starting my stream. So, yeah, I was glad I could pop in for a little bit. I'd love to catch, you know, more of one of your streams, because I love your color palettes. I think they're fantastic. So, anyone who doesn't know Jelonek's work, you should go give her a follow. Check out her stuff. Yeah, commissions are, you know, they're always a different story, right? Because you can't quite just do whatever you want. Even though, like, they always like to propose it that way, right? Oh yeah, I just want you to do your thing. And then it's like, but also make it really specific to what I want. But that's cool, whatever. To get some onlookers in the background that are, you know, some dude standing up to look past the table maybe in the background, and just like, it's like, whoa. She's like, she totally kicked that dude's ass. Some kind of facial hair, but no other hair. Everyone in the background will be super loose and like you know, not a whole lot of detail, because we just want some context is all. Maybe another table back here with that's a fun visual. Was it just so you could get head level with people? Is that why you had to jump up on the pool table? We're gonna get some crazy candle that, even though I know technically it probably wouldn't be on the table, but I just remember when I was in Prague and we went to, you know, they have these great different medieval taverns, right? I mean, places that have been around since the Middle Ages and stuff. And one we went to, and I don't remember the name, but it had this old like dungeon cell, like a jail cell down in the bottom, and which they then like just kind of like set, you know, put like a fake skeleton down there and shit. But the place, like, they had this candle that was, I mean, it was 3 candles and just so many drips of wax. I don't know how long they had just had that candle, and clearly would just put a new candle on. They'd never cleaned it, and it just looked so amazing. Yeah, I actually got some really great photos in that place. It's kind of low, moody light, and I think I was just shooting black and white. And then this other guy is gonna just be like laughing. He's just like, oh my god, she kicked your ass so hard. Long table in the back maybe, and you know, can't have like a tavern brawl without a spilled drink, right? Big stein of ale. Except that, let's make sure our perspective works. Minor detail. it's usually a good idea to probably plan out the perspective a little bit more, but whatevs. Turn this, how about that? I like to eyeball this shit, so. Yeah, I mean, it gives you the high ground, right? Gonna have another candle here, I think. Kinda want to get some kind of a chair. I feel like I want a tipped over chair too. Gotta have a tipped over chair. Context. The nice thing is I don't have to show too much of this chair, right? As long as we just kind of repeat the same short ladder back that this one has, then that'll be enough. This also doesn't seem like the kind of place I would have like really nice chairs. In fact, most likely they would have benches, not chairs, but whatever. I have this other candle here. Gotta get. I just want to make sure these are lining up. I don't need it like, and they're like totally not. So I just gotta decide. I think that one actually works better. Knew they weren't. Well, the top kind of does. Okay. The bottom doesn't. But that actually works better for our purposes. Because I wanted him to have his hand on the table. Got all this wax building up here. I'd like the idea of them just not having matching candle holders or anything like that. Lalus Lolus, hello. I'm doing well. How are you doing? We're just jamming around in pencils today. Want one more. Although I was gonna put another person on that side of the table, but I think I might hint at some people further back. You know, like it's a good size place. So maybe they're just like some silhouettes. We get another orc who's like, dude. You just kicked Gorglin's ass. I'm gonna kick your ass. Just hinted those guys back there. I do remember. Do I like manga style? Well, I like manga more than anime. I know stylistically they're kind of the same, but I don't like to draw that style. I used to when I was in like high school, but not really a fan. Like I like looking at people that do it well. I can definitely appreciate that, but I don't really like drawing it myself. Yeah. Sarah, I was just using the Prismacolor 50% cool gray. Is that focusing? Yeah, it's focused. So I tend to use that to block in stuff because it pretty much just like disappears once I start throwing in the tone and stuff. I'm just lightening some of the areas that could become problematic. As long as you don't push too hard, it'll pretty much disappear once you put tone on. If you push really hard, it'll get opaque and then it's lighter than the tone. So you don't want to do that. Let's find our black pencil and start getting some lines on here. Some real lines. Mechanical pencils? I mean, I feel like any mechanical pencil will work. It depends on the size of the lead that you want. The standard is the 0.5 millimeter lead. You can use a 0.7. If you want something bigger, you can use a 2 millimeter. You can use a 3 millimeter. Yeah, and the other reason that I tend to hold pencils like this is just the mark variety, because if you hold it like this, you're limited to that mark, right? And then if you want something with more line weight, then you gotta like work at it. Whereas with this one, yes, I can get a nice thin mark, but I can get a nice thick mark. I can do both. And so I can use it a lot more like I would a brush. And it just gives me, and you can still get dark with it, right? But I just feel like I have a lot more control over the width of the mark, and it allows me to make a lot more just different types of marks. So that's why I hold it like this. Yeah, I mean, with mechanical pencils, there is, because you can get a HB or a B or a 2B or a 4B lead in your mechanical pencil. So there's a lot of variety, and I don't think it matters which kind you use. No, Jelinek, I'm using the X-Acto Magnum sharpener. It's a electric sharpener. It's fantastic. I'll give you a little demo. So, this is a brand new black Prismacolor with those stupid little tips that they put on them. And then that's coming out of the sharpener. Probably go a little sharper. Yeah. So yeah, I love this sharpener because it gives that long taper on the point. 'Tis my sharpener of choice. Where did I just put my other? I have so many black pencils, but a lot of them are just too short. Yeah, I'd highly recommend that sharpener. It's great. And also, I'm drawing on acetate. I'm drawing on Dura-lene. Dura-lene, D-U-R-A-L-E-N-E. It's made by Seth Cole. Not to be confused with Dura-lar, which does not work well for this particular technique. The sharpener Jelinek, let's see, is the X-Acto Magnum sharpener. So that's our sharpener, and then the paper I'm using is Dura-lene acetate made by Seth Cole. I don't know what the availability is like outside the US. They're a local company just outside of Los Angeles here. So I have no idea. And you will get people that say, oh, Dura-lar is the same thing, which is made by Graphics, and it's not the same. I've tried this technique on Dura-lar when someone accidentally sent Dura-lar instead of Dura-lene, and I didn't pay attention until I went to do the tone, and it just did not work out. I was like, what the hell? And then I realized, oh, it's not the same. It's not the same paper. This stuff is super smooth, by the way. It has like no tooth to it. I love it because it allows me to get some nice detail. But if you like more tooth, then I would recommend like tracing paper or something. I'm gonna get a little closer on this for y'all just while I'm working here. Because otherwise these details are gonna get really small on screen. It's funny though, Lalas, you asked about manga, and sometimes I feel like I wish I was more into it because I know it is very, very popular worldwide, right? I don't know, stylistically it just doesn't do it for me when I'm drawing. But like I said, when I see other people doing it really well, like I love it. It looks awesome and it has really fun stylization. I think stylization in general is just not my natural inclination. I just tend a little more toward, I don't want to say realism because I do stylize a bit, obviously, but not as much, like not as much as say like animation does. Like my shit would be a pain in the ass to animate. You know, Sarah, I'm not sure how well this would do with acrylic paint. Like, with wet media, I don't know. That is actually where you would be better off with the Dura-lar from Graphics, because I think that stuff actually takes wet media better than Dura-lene. But I don't know for sure because I haven't tried. So I couldn't say. But there's also a Dura-lene celluloid, right? So it's a completely clear cell, and it's meant for wet media, which is really fun. So I might even have, hang on, BRB. So this stuff, literally a completely clear celluloid, right? And like essentially plastic, but what's cool is that I can use just like a brush pen, and it takes the ink, and actually the ink just dries on it. I don't know what kind of treatment they put on it, but it's pretty rad, and I imagine would work pretty well with acrylics. You know? Yeah. So that's pretty fun. I don't know how quickly it dries, but once it dries, it's dry. So I don't know. That could be an option for you. Jean-Baptiste. Hello, I'm doing well. How are you? This super chill music is just something off of Epidemic Sound. Who is this? This is called Fire Then Nothing by Dura-lene. We got some chill music. We've got some not as chill music. Yeah, and also, I mean, I used box cutters for years. Although Panasonic used to make this awesome portable, like battery-operated little sharpener, and I loved that thing. And it would get these nice long points on the pencils. And like everyone I knew used them, and then they discontinued them, and we were so sad. And it took me a while to. I remember I bought a couple of them because one of them the motor just died on me, but they were discontinued. So I think I bought one or two of them on eBay at one point, and which was fine because they didn't like overprice them or anything. They were just a standard price, brand new, unopened, you know. So and then ended up, I think I went through a few different sharpeners though before I found the X-Acto Magnum. I love that thing. And luckily it's X-Acto, and you know they're not going out of business anytime soon. Not that Panasonic went out of business, but they ended up kind of cutting way back on the amount of products that they made, and I think they were choosing to focus on some audio products and monitors, I think, something like that. So they just canned a bunch of other stuff. So in this image, I am actually going to get core shadows in there, but I don't want to actually detail out much in the shadows. I'll get some stuff, but I don't want to go too crazy on the detail in the shadows. Essentially kind of just bracketing the exposure, right? So we'll hint at stuff, but most of the things in the shadows I think I'll keep pretty loose. Ah, thank you. I'm glad you could join, Jean-Baptiste. Appreciate it. I'm glad that you enjoy watching, because I enjoy sharing. You know, I often think about the fact that, like, I've been sharing my work online since 1997. You know, it's a long time. That's more than half my life now, which, you know, I just turned 40 this year, so more than half my life is like saying something. As opposed to like the 20-year-olds who are like, oh my god, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, since I was like in high school. I'm like, dude, that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, I was 17 in 1997, so there were not a lot of art communities, I will say that. Not to mention my internet was shit. I don't think we even had, like, where we were living, I don't think we even had a 56K yet. Until, I forget who took over, Charter, someone took over eventually up there, and then all of a sudden just brought in broadband, and it's like, hell yes. But yeah, our internet connection was crap, so, you know, surfing the web and discovering things took time. I think I started posting on Elfwood. Maybe that's why I like to draw elves all the time, though funny thing, I did not used to draw elves all the time. The elf thing didn't actually start till fairly recently. 5-6 years ago. Trying to figure out, like, what I want to do with her hair here. That's why I'm sort of fussing with this stuff. So maybe I'll come back to it when I have a clear idea of what I want. Although some of that is just going to be in shadow, so we can kind of simplify it, I guess. Yeah, Jelinek, I mean, I don't know if you were kind of the same way, but I mean, I started drawing pretty much as soon as I could pick up a drawing utensil, you know? So I was like 1 or 2. I mean, I know I was less than 2 years old when I first started. But that was partly because, you know, my mom used to do art. Like, she was originally going to go to art school, I think, in Europe before she met my dad, and then they got married, and then she didn't do art school in Europe. She moved to the US, because that's where my dad was from. So while she was pregnant with me, she was teaching my brother kind of the basics of drawing, the basic shapes, right? The primitive shapes, circles and squares, and how to use them for different things. And then I kind of learned watching my brother. Funny enough, though, he did not pursue art professionally, although he's been doing a lot of drawing lately, which is cool. I like seeing that. Just takes practice. Yeah, exactly. Like, I started drawing when I was a baby, and I just never stopped. And I had friends that, you know, grew up drawing. We used to draw together, and like, they were good too in a lot of ways. Like, it wasn't like I was better than them, but for some reason they just stopped. All right, let's figure out this. That's bugging me. I know this isn't right. For gloves. I feel like I've normally given her a straight pommel, but I kind of want more of that saber kind of thing, you know? Which turns it more into a stabby sword and less of a slicey sword, to use the technical term. Hopefully we don't get any knife experts trying to tell me that they would never have a forward curved handle. If they do, we can just tell them to, you know, take it up with Charlemagne. See how he feels about your never have a curved handle theory. Because I ain't buying it. Figure the details of this out. starting to feel a little better. Thanks, Jada. I appreciate that. Kind of just getting into it here. I think I'm probably gonna... Okay, so the only time that I really use a ruler is when I want a very thin straight line. I think we're gonna pull back a little bit here. It's a big piece of paper. I'm working on 14 by 17, which just gives me a little more room vertically, you know? Because otherwise 11 by 17 starts to feel cramped, you know? I like to have some breathing room. So the only time I use a ruler really is when I want the straight line to be very thin, right? And let's see here. And we want a bit of convergence for some perspective. That ended up getting really light, didn't it? Otherwise, like, I don't usually care if it's perfectly straight, you know? Like, I can freehand it straight enough if I need to. Usually, it depends, but most of the time, if I, you know, I can get pretty straight line freehand. But if I want it to be, like, just very thin, then that's where it helps to just use a ruler. Yeah, don't worry about it, would be my advice. Because, you know, I was kind of the same way for a long time. I would only sketch on, like, laser jet paper, you know? I did the laser jet. Yo, Autumn, what's up, dude? Everyone say hello to Arthur Kell. Yeah, I would only sketch on the laser jet paper because it was cheap and there was no pressure. You know, I didn't care if I messed up. And then after a while, I felt like it was hindering me because I was all of a sudden just not really caring about what I was drawing that much, you know? So that's where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get a nice sketchbook. I started drawing in a moleskin sketchbook, and it made me care a bit more about what I was doing. It made me take it more seriously, you know? And like, I think it's okay to be a little afraid of messing up. The nice thing with this particular technique is that it's so forgiving that it's actually hard to mess up in a way that you can't take it back. So I don't worry about that with this. But you know, it is a valid concern. I just wouldn't worry about it too much, because that can start to work against you. And realistically, like, generally the better art is done with better materials, you know? And while the materials don't make the artist, they can certainly make our job a little easier, you know? And I had discovered that with painting, where I realized, you know, when I actually decided to use some nicer brushes and nicer paints, and I realized I didn't have to struggle as much to get the look that I wanted. All of a sudden I was like, oh, well, shit, there's a reason they're better and more expensive, you know? They do what they're supposed to do. Let's get some lighting. I actually kind of want to start working from left to right here, just because I don't want to work on this and then get to here, and you can still smear the pencil a little bit. It won't be like terrible, it's not like graphite, but you know, why not just avoid it? Yeah, totally. I think if you're just doing like non-precious sketches and you're just doing stuff to warm up, then yeah, like, don't do that on really nice paper. Do it on copy paper, do it on newsprint, whatever, you know. Bring this over a little bit. Get this guy going. Just trying to think of the lighting here. But then I think also people get too afraid to get into the nicer stuff. Like, somehow they're not supposed to be using it or something, you know? Like, I remember when it was just before the quarantine, and I'd gone into the art store to get some oil paints, right? And I use Williamsburg oil paints, and I love those paints. And so I asked, you know, one of the employees, like, if he could open the cabinet for me, and I could, you know, I wanted some of the Williamsburg, and he was saying, he's like, oh, I wish I could use those. I was like, well, you can just get some and use them. And he was like, no, I don't feel like I'm not good enough, and I feel like I'm not supposed to use paints that are that nice. And I thought that was so weird, because also a lot of them are not, like, they're a little bit more expensive than Winsor Newton, but not by much. They're not Old Holland. You know, you're not going to drop $200 on a tube of cobalt blue or whatever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I think we need to be a little careful of sort of making up these weird sort of stigmas for ourselves, you know. Art kind of is all about experimentation, and if we don't do that, we don't grow. And so I think it's a good idea to every now and then, like, who knows, splurge on something and try it out, see. I would never have discovered my beloved $300 fountain pen had I not taken the chance. I want a little bit of overlap here. I feel like this lead is about to snap or something. It keeps flexing on me in a weird way. Huh. Hello, Mauricio. Mr. Zylstra, what's up, bro? Oh, John, were you not there? It's full on magma now. Don't you worry. You got the nice glowies in there. These guys like to fight. They gotta have some battle scars and shit, right? Alright, I feel like I'm moving really slow for some reason. I don't want to. Don't overthink it. But you also don't want to rush it, right? There are times we gotta slow it down. Make sure we do it right. Because I found that actually will make a piece take longer, right? If you're not kind of moving sort of slowly and deliberately, you end up making a lot more marks that you have to erase. Whereas the fewer marks we can make, the quicker something will get done, which is why it's more about working efficiently rather than quickly. Efficiency will make it go quicker. Alright, Jelinek, thanks for popping in. I'm hoping to catch one of yours again soon. Hopefully a full stream. I'd plugged Jelinek's work earlier. Anyone who doesn't know her should pop over to her Twitch, give her a follow. She's got links to her Instagram and ArtStation as well over there. One of the very, very talented artists on the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, right? Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisps, I believe. Super dope stuff. Love it. Which I still have to play. Ori and the Blind Forest is hands down one of my favorite games, but I haven't played because I don't have an Xbox, and I don't have a PC. Because I don't think I can. I don't think I can play it on the Mac. Even though I know I can do Steam on the Mac, but I don't think Ori is available. So I really want to play that sequel. Oh, really? I don't have a Switch either, but I've been thinking about getting one, so hey, I don't hate that idea. No, actually, Jean-Baptiste, what I do is I actually draw my rough in a 50% gray, and so this is all on the same sheet of paper. The reason I like to do that is because drawing over the gray gives just a little more grip to the black pencil. So this is all on one piece of paper. Sarah, she does have an Instagram. If you... Oh, you can't... Let's see if she's still in here. Hello, Nick. Right. Oh, there you go. Cool. I was going to say, if you pop over to her Twitch, then she's got... You guys are on it. What do you need me for? I'm just gonna draw stuff. Yeah, some like really beautiful colors, man. It like the kind of color palette that Mauricio, I have not ordered my new PC just yet. I've been kind of like, I want to, I'm just like, not ready to drop the money yet. I will soon, though. Of course, Jelinek. Of course. You know, you have the kinds of, it is late in Poland. I know. Those damn scalpers and that damn video card, dude. You ever feel like every now and then you'll see people using these color palettes? At least I feel this, and I'll see them and I'm like, I don't know if a guy could use color like that. Like, I feel like women just see color. I mean, it's kind of a scientific fact that women see more colors than men, I believe. So it kind of makes sense. But there are a few people I see. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't even know where to begin to use color like that. Like, it's not just like impressionistic. It's just, I don't know, a different sense of color that baffles me. Fuck it, I'll stick with my realist palettes. At least I can do that. Let's give him a thicker neck, and he needs some kind of like... Do the go-to where he's just got teeth and from different things that he's killed or whatever. You know, he's like if orcs lived in the Everglades. Gator teeth. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of that's just practice. Like, I don't tend to do, you know, cylinders and boxes to block stuff in. Sometimes we could, you know, we all have those days where we're just not seeing clearly, you know, so there are times that I will end up sort of plotting stuff out a little more, but luckily today is not one of those days. So I don't gotta plot shit. And it's also just not being afraid to go back and change some stuff, you know, if you feel like, okay, look, this thing's really not working. Let's go back, let's correct it. Make it do what it's supposed to be doing. Which, by the way, keep getting way too much detail in some of these shadows. No, expand visual library. I'm really bad at trying to visualize things in my mind. Ooh, the visual library, Mateus, honestly comes from practice, and a lot of that is, you know, when you're out and about, I mean, you know, you can train your memory. I think a good way to practice is to look at something and then maybe like turn away from it and draw it from memory. You know, don't look back, just draw it as detailed as you can from memory and then turn back and check it. You know, doing things like that to push your ability to remember certain details, because you start coming up with shorthands to kind of remember how certain things look, and it takes practice, it takes a long time, and you just gotta kind of like keep pushing yourself. If you see something when you're out and about that's really interesting, try and remember it, and then when you get home, sketch it. You know, like my initial rounds of training were before smartphones, right? And before I had like a small digital camera, so I couldn't just like snap a quick picture on my phone to draw from later. I had to remember it, and it helped a lot. We would also do stuff in figure drawing class when I was in animation school, where the model would take a pose for like a minute or 2 minutes, but we couldn't draw them, and then the model would go and stand off to the side, and then we had to draw the pose from memory. And we sort of built up doing that to where the model would take like sometimes 10, 12 poses in a row, and we couldn't draw any of them, and then we had to do our best to draw them all from memory. So that kind of stuff, it helps a lot to just push yourself. And you know, that was over the course of a semester that we sort of built up those muscles. That's what I would say as far as recommending what to do to kind of build up your visual library. And then Jean-Baptiste, yeah, I didn't learn Loomis method. When I was my first figure drawing stuff was in junior college. And I mean, it was a lot of like, there's the figure, okay, draw it, you know. But they went over like core shadows and all that. They didn't get too into the anatomy. In animation school, we got much more into the anatomy, but it wasn't based on any particular method. It was actually the drawing teacher there had worked very hard to kind of come up with his own sort of curriculum and way of teaching. So that was the Abbott-Smith method. And then I went to Art Center. That's where I met Mr. Arthur Kell. And yeah, I mean, there are a few methods, I feel, depending on who is teaching at Art Center, right? Some people were more the Hogarth kind of a thing, though I feel like all the teachers at Art Center had been doing it long enough that they really had sort of developed some of their own methodologies. I actually didn't discover Loomis until after I graduated from art school. Like, I had heard the name, but I'd never like looked into him. And, but I mean, his stuff is valid. It's very valid. But I haven't like gone through and like really practiced any of his methodologies, so I'm not that versed in them. Not enough to say like, oh yeah, I'd recommend him over whatever. Though, I mean, realistically, if someone were to ask me to recommend a book on methodologies for drawing the figure, I would probably recommend Loomis, because, you know, realistically, like, the little bit that I have read, the guy could communicate concepts really, really well. And I don't know that anyone else has really done a better book for that kind of stuff. Like, I can't think of one. I don't know if Dallas learned from Hogarth or not. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I would say his methodology was pretty Hogarth with a good dose of like product design. You know, like a stronger emphasis on the structural shape in a way. Or maybe more he was just coming from having more of that like structural understanding. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did a bit of training under Hogarth, because I can definitely see a lot of similarities, even just in the way he depicted some of the shapes for like the foot and stuff. I actually never took any of Dallas's classes. I got to know him just in the cafeteria, which was kind of funny because then he never treated me like a student. Whereas then, like, he'd have students come up to him in the cafeteria and he would treat them completely different. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know why that was the case. Why he didn't treat me that way. But it was always funny to me. He would fuck with Shant so much. Like, he just got such a kick out of it. Oh my god. I remember one time, like, I'd stopped into one of Dallas's drawing classes, and Shant was in the class, and and I was talking to Dallas in the back, and then he goes, hey, wait, watch this. Shant, come here! And Shant just immediately like throws down what he's doing and like comes over and like knocks a bunch of shit down onto the way, and Dallas is just laughing. had such a kick out of it. Oh my god. He was like a high school bully. It was kind of hilarious. For some reason, he just felt like Art Center really needed a bully, so he decided to be the bully. Got some slide guitar vibes going. All chill. Way too chill for a tavern brawl. But whatever. This would be like when the brawl would just go into like a way super slow-mo shot, and then this music would kick in, and it would just be a really weird dichotomy. And it's always funny to me, like with this technique, when you throw the tone on the back and like all these 50% lines just like disappear, all of a sudden it just looks way cleaner. I always have to kind of remind myself that don't worry, it'll get cleaner. Be patient. Some kind of an arm wrap there. No, Dallas was a super nice guy. I think Shant just annoyed him, but Shant annoyed a lot of people. Until he kind of, then he, you know, I mean, he was young, whatever. He was like 17 or 18 when he first started at Art Center, so... you know, then he kind of chilled out a bit. And actually, the last time I ran into him was years ago, but it was long after, or at least several years after graduation, and he was so different. He was just like pretty chill. He was like wearing a suit, and I think even brought up something about how he used to be so obnoxious. Like, he even acknowledged it. Yeah, and I know, like, he had started working with, he'd started doing a lot of work with Alan Ball, actually. In fact, I mean, I remember when the last time, I think you may have been there, it was at Gallery Nucleus. But I actually want to say it was at their previous location, maybe. But I just remember talking with him, and he was saying how he was working with Alan Ball, and working on a new vampire show, which of course was True Blood. So, you know, obviously not new anymore, but at the time. I do want to get like a bit of like some kind of a spilled drink here, but I think I'm gonna try and do that more in the tone. So it'd be a bit of a value difference, and then reflection, a bit of reflection in there. So. Alright, we're gonna get back to her now. Let's get back to our girl. It's totally just gonna cover my face up, isn't it? Whatever. Because what I'm gonna do... Actually, I'm gonna move this over. There we go. That's better. So what I'm gonna do is I'll use the black pencil for her, and then probably the spilled Ale Stein. Hey, by the way, John, I know you're a fan of ciders, and I think you like Golden State cider. If you haven't tried their Brut, super good. So it's basically the dry cider with champagne yeast, and it is delicious. But don't forget to have water also. Okay, so I'll use the black pencil for her and the area here that's a little more in the foreground, and then I'm going to use 70% gray for back here. What that'll do is that'll automatically create some kind of atmosphere. And you won't notice it much when I'm drawing, but as soon as I throw the tone on, all that stuff will sink back. So, oh, Ace is delicious. I have a couple of their pineapple ciders in the fridge. Though I think they're based in Sebastopol, not Santa Rosa, aren't they? Unless they moved their headquarters, but I know their first location that you could visit was in Sebastopol. Same with Mighty Dry, I believe. I think they're in Sebastopol still. Right? I feel like it should say somewhere. Oh, Healdsburg. Interesting. Weird. I swear they used to be in Sebastopol. Healdsburg. Get that fur going there. Make sure we're clear on what our anatomy is doing. Let's see here. Got her little cute bow thing in the center. With like a in my mind it's like a little leather floret kind of a deal. And anyone who missed the beginning, I was saying, like, she's kind of my silly character, right? Because she's ridiculously, like, scantily clad. But also in my mind, she's just, like, lightning quick. So she knows she's a badass. She knows that she doesn't give a shit if the opponent is bigger than her, considerably bigger than her, because she's so fast that She just knows. Wait, who are the Jets playing tomorrow? I haven't kept up on the schedule too much. Though I did catch a bit of the Chargers game and then the Rams game last week. It always takes me a little while when the season starts to really like get into it. Kelly gets right into it. She's like waiting, like 2 months ahead of time. She's just like, guess what starts in 2 months? And I'm like, what? She's like, football. I'm like, oh, it's 2 months away. You know how much shit I'm doing between now and then? So as it was drawing closer, she was just getting excited. Alright, let's get the trademark, like, it's not braiding, it's shit, I don't remember what it's called. Oh well. But there's a name for this. I don't know what it is. Yeah, this pencil is... that pencil was getting a little short for how flat I needed to hold it. But it's still long enough that when I want to do the lines after we do the tone and I want to come back and reinforce some of the line work, then I can still use that one. But for this stuff, not so much. I don't know, like, because it's leather that's interwoven, right, like that, and I don't know what that. It's like a lattice, kind of, but I don't know what the technical term is. I'm like showing you, and my hands weren't even in the thing, you know. So it's a leather where it's like that, and I don't know. Yeah, she has a friendship bracelet. She just wraps it around her boobs. I can dig it. Why not? Are they the most detailed part? I feel like her top is the most detailed part. mostly because it's really difficult to indicate that intricate of a pattern. So you gotta, you know, sometimes you just gotta draw it. No, Autumn, do not become a Raiders fan. I'll disown you. More of the, had a different kind of pattern initially. But have to be careful with putting any kind of pattern here, because if you see it small, it'll look like she's not wearing anything, and we don't want that. Some random Twitch mod could pop in and be like, whoa. Like, no, she's got like a leather bikini thing. Because, you know, that makes sense, right? Makes total sense. Makes sense when you're so badass you don't give a fuck. I always want to curl the pinky in that pose, and it's not the right way to do it. Your pinky naturally does not curl right when your wrist is bent. It's actually quite difficult when you bend your wrist to curl your pinky. So all your other fingers can bend in that pose, but pinky, it's a little tricky. All right. We've been on. Damn, it's been 2 hours? Wow. This is like taking me longer than I thought. Partly because I did not have a clear idea when I started the stream of what I was gonna draw. At the last minute, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a Sylvial drawing. Shit, what should I draw? Well, she always gets in tavern brawls. Okay, orc. And then when I was pulling out the 14 by 17 paper, then I was like, oh shit, I did one with her, like, you know, getting into it with a couple orcs already, but whatever. Get out to the whole thing here for y'all, or less. Now let's get the whole shebang. At least the other stuff will go pretty quick because that'll all be pretty loose. Big stein, maybe some kind of a resin or like waxed rim, and then the rest is like, you know, like a mini barrel. I like drawing these kinds of steins, they're fun. Get one tie, one metal tie around it. Hey, Nel Nudlos. Nel Nudlos? I can't quite read that. Have a good one. Thanks for joining. I feel like normally she's drinking like wine or something, but I think maybe today she was feeling particularly boisterous. It's a hint at some kind of like a flagstone floor or something. It's kind of a, it'd have to be kind of a nice tavern to have a flagstone floor. But that's okay. Maybe a little too nice for orcs, but we're not gonna nitpick that. It is what it is. A little bit of reflection in this here spilled ale. Alright, so let's do switch to our 70%. get this guy. He's like, yo, what's going on, guys? Holy shit. Whoa. Girlfriend just texted me because, you know, we had that earthquake last night, and we were supposed to, I think, have been in Greece at the time. I feel like we would have been back, maybe. But, yeah, she said had we been in Greece, we would have felt a 5.9 earthquake. Only 40 miles from the hotel that we were supposed to stay in. That's crazy. Now these guys don't need to be crazy detailed, you know? Guy. One of those baggy shirts with the, just got the sleeves rolled up. Some kind of a leather bracelet or bracer. Get that front edge of the table. A long communal table. This guy just thinks it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, pretty much. I had one of my paintings fall off the bookshelf. I mean, it didn't get damaged or anything. It was just on gator board, so you know, super light. It just kind of floated down, and that was it. Silhouettes back here, which, you know, we can hint at some other kind of race or something. Now I'm getting like impatient with this. You know, there are things you can rush through. You just don't want to like rush too hard, right? Like rush through as long as you can see clearly where you're going. Like if you know exactly what you need to do to push it along, cool. If you don't, then it's not a good time to rush. But because this stuff can be loose, I don't need it to spell out much. Well, it's always a little crooked, right? I don't want these chairs to look too nice because it would just be sort of weird. It doesn't seem like the kind of place that would have like really nice chairs. Just sort of really basic things that were slapped together, and they're like, I don't know, just reinforce it so it can handle the weight of, you know, big orcs. Other orc that's like, get in my body bag. Okay, all right. I feel like we can stop noodling and get to the fun. Yeah, I'm thinking the orc was getting handsy, or maybe he was just talking shit about elves or something, and she was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? You heard me. Zum zum. Tapu. Work. Warcraft 2, anyone? Alright. Flipping it over. Let's get some tone on here, because that shit's fun. You know what I haven't done with her is any kind of color. And and I feel like it would be a missed opportunity if I didn't. So we will throw our base gray on, but I think I want to also put some tone. I do want it to get a bit darker down here. I may actually end up throwing a little bit of black in there to give myself more tone to work with. What is this, dark umber? Let's grab the dark umber. I think the dark umber, if I remember correct, I feel like the dark umber is a little more red. So, fuck it, let's just do both. Some dark umber and dark brown. Why not? It's all just gonna mix up anyway, give us a nice sort of general warm tone to work on top of. Right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. I don't usually use black on the back because it tends to go dark very quickly. But I might add, I was using 90% gray before, the dark one that I put on. But I think I might throw some black just down here. Cool, now we're done, guys. No, we're not done. We're not done. Alright, so we just got the shop towel, right? The blue sort of clothy paper towels that you get at the hardware store. Clearly I've used this one a few times. And then some Gamsol, right? Gamsol, just some natural mineral spirits commonly used as oil paint solvent. We just put that on the paper towel, and you can use a normal paper towel. I like the shop towels because they're durable and they last. Normal paper towels, like, you'll go through one per drawing, whereas with the shop towels, you can use one for like a week of drawings, and it's pretty rad. Wow, since I've had to smear that much of it. Just want to get it all the way out to the edges. And you don't have to, like, I tend to usually smooth it out quite a bit, but there are times that I don't want it too smooth. I like some of the texture, especially if it is something where I want it all a little grittier. You can get some really nice sort of, marks like that if you want it. This particular one, I don't really want it to be that distracting, so we're not doing that. And then oftentimes I'll just flip it to the back side just to speed up the drawing. And I'm not pressing hard, I'm just lightly going over the whole thing. And if I don't feel like waiting, for a couple minutes for it to dry. So there we Yeah, the paper towels do tend to leave more texture. And I feel like you have control over the texture with the shop towels, which is really nice. All right. Let's do this. The challenge with something this size, right? Because normally, like when I'm drawing for work, the entire image will be like about that big. You know, it's not this entire thing. It can be a challenge if you have this much kind of empty space to work with, to not make it too textural. I have not found the total answer to that. One thing that can work is if you plan ahead a bit, and like because the light source is coming from here, if I wanted some light bloom, I could have maybe not put any pencil here, right? And then just as I'm smearing, I could bring some there, but it would be lighter. I don't mind some texture for this particular piece in that regard. I don't want it to be too crazy. First things first, it's always good to just at least pull out a couple of light sources just so that you remember they're there. No, this isn't Bean Fang. This is Dura-lene acetate made by Seth Cole. So this is a totally translucent paper, right? Like similar to tracing paper. The other stuff I've found doesn't handle, like the Gansol doesn't dry properly, a lot of the others. Now I haven't tried anything from Bean Fang. I don't know if they make an acetate or not. Maybe they do. So just to get some of that light bloom, I'm just kind of... motorcycle. I'm just going lightly with a kneaded eraser. I like I said, I don't mind some texture, but I don't want it to be too distracting, you know? Let's, pull out his silhouette. Candles are a light source. I'm just gonna get them doing their thing. Yeah, so Seth Cole, who makes this particular paper, is actually a local company, just outside of LA. Because I was sitting there working on that light bloom, and I was like, wait a second, I gotta do this everywhere because I gotta pull out these silhouettes. And yeah, because this is acetate, that's why like the Gamsol doesn't really do anything to it. But also, again, this works on tracing paper too. And vellum. Though I haven't tried it on vellum in a long time. Just because price-wise, like if you get a good vellum, I feel like you might as well just get the Dura-lene. But I also know that Dura-lene is not available everywhere, like even to order online. So vellum might be kind of like a nice vellum might be the only option for some people, maybe. Let's get our table. Motorcycles. I don't want to spend too much time on these background dudes here, because you know they're just background. Don't need much on them. And I'll bring a little bit of detail into them when I switch erasers, but right now it don't matter. Like maybe we can hint at like a couple other maybe candles back there or something. You know, makes sense. All right, let's get some lights on her. This is just kind of setting up the general light value. Not getting into details just yet. Yeah, let's get her a little lighter. You know, it's funny. There's an old illustrator that did something very similar to this back in like the 70s and 80s. Though he would use, I feel like he would use oil pastels to do the tone, but he would use turpentine to smear it. And Nawang, no, this is actually all Prismacolor pencil so far. Yeah, so what's the guy's name? Sergio Martinez was the guy, and he did beautiful illustrations, great sense of light. But he actually, like, he kind of created this technique for himself. Like, he was doing it on vellum with colored pencil, but then he would do all the tone with oil pastels, and he would smear it with turpentine. Super healthy, I'm sure. Still alive, though, so good for him. But it was because, specifically, he had an assignment where they needed to look like old pieces of art. So he's like, man, how can I get them to look old? And so that's where he was like, okay, well, if I do some stuff on the front of the vellum and then some stuff on the back, so that when you turn it over, it'll get faded and all that stuff, you know. So funny that you say that, because that was exactly his thinking. So, Nawang Sherpa, we're working on acetate. It's a Dura-lene acetate paper, similar to tracing paper, but it's plastic instead of paper, though you could use tracing paper for this as well, just FYI. And I did the drawing on the front of the paper. Right now we're working on the back, just doing the tone. And it's all just Prismacolor that I smeared with Gamsol to get the nice kind of soft tones, and I'm just erasing out the lights now. Okay, so our green skin friend, I don't want his skin to be as light as hers. Though it could be, it'd be kind of interesting, right, to do. Have an orc that has this like really light greenish skin, but not like the stupid albino orc in The Hobbit. What a piece of shit that was. A little bit of light on the ground here. Oh, did they? Yeah, I'm not gonna see that one either. Reflections in that spilled ale. I did not understand why Blizzard didn't just do a fully CG movie. You know, I'm like, their cutscenes are so good that, like, why would you try and do any live action? That's just stupid. That's not what people want to see. I didn't understand that. So remember, we have our some kind of a hint of a spilled drink. I'll have to get a little more like fidelity in there, I think. But if we at least get I don't know, some kind of reflection in there, something. We'll see. might work out, might not. Like, when I first heard that they were gonna do a movie, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. And then it was like, gonna be live action. Like, what the hell? And then they still tried to keep a bit of their same shape language. It was like, wow. Who thought that was a good idea? Because that armor is super believable. But then I love the images that people have done where they put like, they like tweak it so that the armor is like what it would actually look like in WoW, and it just looks hilarious. It just looks so cartoony. I know, right? I was like, dude, Travis Fimmel, like, he's so dope. And, you know, perfect for a part like that, except that they did it wrong. Did it wrong. Too bad. So this guy, I want him to have darker skin, so I'm not going super light. There's a lot that's going to be handled in the details with him. The other thing I never really decided on with her character is, does she have really fair skin? But if she's walking around, you know, not wearing a whole lot, would she really be that fair-skinned anymore? I don't know. Some kind of elven sunblock? Which, if you consider what some of the basic sunblocks are made out of, not actually out of the question. In some version of reality, it could happen. Get some zinc, bit of coconut oil, good to go. Alright, let's get I feel like in this one that little needle point eraser is going to do a lot for us as far as like a lot of heavy lifting for some of the detail work. So I'll probably jump over to that and then bring back one of these other erasers as needed. And because we do have these candles back here, which we can play up a little bit. Actually, let me address these for a second. But at least we can catch a little bit of rim light and secondary kind of fill light on her as well. Ooh, look at that! Look at those candles magically just pop into place. That's always fun. Gives us reasons to start pulling out some lights in other areas as well. Autumn, are you saying there's a mechanic for giant armor in D&D? Because that's funny. This guy just like, ha 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 ha. You got your ass kicked, bro. Guy's like, whoa, got your ass kicked, bro. Holy, did you see that, you guys? He just got his ass kicked by that little elf chick. This village is crazy, you guys. A bit of the wood grain. And at a certain point I'll also accent some of the darks just to pop some stuff out a bit more. Oh, salves and sunscreen. I mean, it makes sense because honestly, like, coconut oil alone is naturally, I think, I don't remember if it's 7 SPF or like 15 SPF, but I mean just coconut oil by itself. So it kind of makes sense that, you know, like, that's why I say it's not out of the question that they might have had something. Light catching on her earrings there. Her and her big, like, 80s hair. I can dig it. Let's do. Spilled whenever catching a bit of light. Water. I don't want to say I don't use reference. I did not use any reference for this image. There are times that I do if I feel like I just want something to be particularly accurate. And then for work, yeah, I always use reference because we gotta, draw actors and stuff and make sure their likeness is there and make sure looks like them and make sure the clothing and environments are accurate to whatever movie or TV or video game project we're on. So in that regard, I use reference a lot, which is why I feel pretty comfortable not using reference, because I know I at least have, a pretty good visual mental library built up in my brain. A little bit of specular on the leather. I think this picture was going to be easier in my head. We're at like 3 hours here, but that's okay. We don't have that much longer on it. The color is gonna be pretty basic. Can't tell. I hate when I can't tell. I think there's a mark on the other side that's bothering me, so I'll have to address that after. Can't worry about it right now. A little lighter. Soften up some of these forms. nose ring, right? The light glinting on his earrings. Now for him, the light is mostly going to be highlights because the value of his skin is darker. And I haven't quite decided like what kind of green I want for him. Probably be some kind of a olive. Might have a good one. I just haven't used it yet, so I don't know how like dark it is, and it's actually fairly desaturated, so I don't know how much it'll show up. So I might have to kind of add a couple of colors just to get the idea across. I like this eraser because it's basically just like drawing with an eraser, you know? It's so comfortable. Yeah, that's true. Mauricio, thanks for hanging out. Autumn, the other side of it for me is that, like, in general, I've been spending longer on drawings than I used to, but it's one of those things where they're better than they used to be, so I'm okay with it. I'm spending longer on them because I'm considering more stuff than I used to, and kind of getting more little details and shit in there. So in general, I feel like all my stuff has been taking me longer than it used to. Enough to where it's like throwing me off a little bit, where I think I know how long a project will take, and then it ends up taking me longer, whereas before I would always finish it like in pretty much exactly the amount of time that I thought I would. And lately I've had to kind of reassess and pad the timing, make sure that I can get it done. But as I said, it is, you know, in general, the stuff is better than it used to be, so it's okay. If it was taking me longer and it wasn't as good, I'd be concerned. But I ain't worried. Let's get all these planes that are like at a very acute angle from the viewer. I want them to be catching more light. Little fine lines make all the difference. Sometimes, well, with, you know, with hair and fur, flyaways and that sort of thing. see if we can wrap this up in the next half hour. We'll do our best. I want actually this guy. I just want to reinforce some of the deeper shadows. Just to create a little more depth. Teeth. Gotta give them a little bit of love. Very subtle, but just enough to pull these guys out of the background a little bit more. I don't want to go too heavy with it because I don't want to pull them forward too much. But a little bit is okay. And for the color, I'm just using Faber-Castells, because the polychromos, because they have much nicer colors than Prismacolor does, I think. And even though we're going very subtle, I do still care about how archival the colors are. And polychromos are much more archival than Prismas. Again, just doing subtle color. I'm not trying to go like all out with it. I want to try, what is this? Olive green yellowish. Okay. I feel like this might be a little subtle. But at the same time, that's kind of what I want. I don't want them to be like green, you know? It's not like Hulk. I'm not going Hulk green. I have no idea how much this green will show up on the front side. So, we'll see. We will see. It'll probably be very subtle, but that's okay. We don't need it to be like super overt. Just enough to let us know who we're dealing with. I kind of want to bring some color into the shadows, but I might do that on the kind of want to cool off the shadows just to push them apart from the light. So we're just gonna bring bit of cool, and again, I mean, this will be subtle, but it's just nudging these temperatures around. You know, there's no reason to go super crazy with it. You could, again, you know, if you look at Sergio Martinez, not the super cheesy figure painter, by the way. You gotta look for the guy who was an illustrator back in the 70s. Because if you Google Sergio Martinez art, you're gonna get a mix of the two. And I'm not talking about the guy who does really cheesy nude on the beach paintings. I mean, we can talk about those if you want, but it'll be a very different discussion. Forget that leg. Yes, the Gamsol actually does work similar on the polychromos. The only thing with polychromos, though, is that they're not quite as soft as Prismacolors, so they don't put as much pigment down. So what'll happen if you use just the polychromos for something like this is you'll get a much lighter tone. So you may have to kind of double up if you were to use just the polys. Yeah, not a bad thing. It's just something to kind of be aware of with them. I feel like he needs a little variation in his skin though, because it's kind of weird if you know, she clearly has some variation there and he ain't got none. get... No reason he can't have some warmth in his skin as well. Right? Add a little bit more believability. I like that color. Pompeian red. Well, that's morbid, isn't it? This is the color that Pompeii was on the inside. Her gloves. I feel like her top should be a little more of a reddish leather, but that's okay. I can dig the ochre, burnt ochre. Burnt ochre. I don't really want to like color everything. All right, brother. We'll catch you later. Oh yeah, is my Nightbot not posting? Nightbot is dropping the ball. What happened to you, Nightbot? Probably have to log in or something. I don't know. Thanks for posting the links. You guys can join the Discord. You can get some shirts in the shop. You can... Clearly she was drinking like a Pilsner or something. This was not a dark ale or an amber ale. Maybe it was like elderberry cider. A giant pint and a half of elderberry cider. Alright, let's... Again, not going like super full color, but I just want to make sure that I have what I want. I kind of want that sash to have a hint of it, and this will all sink way back as soon as I flip the page over. Oys. Give her some striking. Actually, I wouldn't mind giving her a little bit of variation in her hair. Damn, sharpening all kinds of new pencils that I haven't used from this set. Make sure I have the stuff that I want on this side. I think I do. I kind of want to get a little bit of heat in some of these areas. No idea how much it'll show up when we flip things over, but just like hint of it. Don't need much. Alright. Let's... Moment of truth, right? So we were working on the back. We will flip this over. We got our drawing back. Some nice subtle colors, and you can see all the lighter lines just disappear. The 70% sits way back there, which is nice. It's what we want. So I am going to reinforce some of that. Oh no, Yo-Yo, you're late again. Oh, I was gonna give his hair some color, but we can do that on this side, it's fine. Dark hair. Not a lot of color, just indigo blue, subtle. So, first things first, let's reinforce our drawing where we want it. And this is really the chance to reinforce the silhouette, play with edges a bit, you know, if you want some edges to bleed together, forms to bleed together, right? We don't have to sit there and define every single form. Yeah, Yo-Yo, this one's just kind of like a fun one. I've drawn this character before, but I've never actually thrown any of this kind of like color on her before, so I thought this was a fun opportunity to do that. And she's just a fun, kind of a smart-ass sort of character, I think. Clearly not a serious character, because, you know, that design would be a little silly. But that's also what makes her fun, you know? Like, I don't know, I think there is a place for that kind of pulp fantasy still. You know, I don't think... I know a lot of people get very caught up in severe, like, extreme credibility and, you know, really researching, like, okay, these are the time periods I'm basing this on, and it has to be everything that was possible in those times. Not just possible, but, like, actually basing it on that. Whereas for me, I'm like, you know, sure, there's the outside possibility that maybe they could have had this in that kind of a time period. So I'm going to say, in this world, yes. You know, but I think there's something to be said for the pulp stuff that doesn't take itself too seriously, but can still have some serious characters and serious stories, and even if there's some silliness along the way. Like, I love that shit. But I also like the really credible stuff too, you know? I think there's... feel like there's a bit of a need for all of it. Bato Shino, my day is going very well. Thank you. You know, I hadn't drawn in pencils in a while. I got back to them for the first time in months on Thursday because we had a sketch project come in at work. So I was like, you know what? I'm doing these in pencils. And I actually had kind of forgotten how much I just love drawing with pencil. Colored pencil specifically. When I say pencil, I pretty much never mean graphite. I like graphite, but this is the stuff that I love to do with pencil. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been so nice. And it's one of those things where, you know, for work, I don't really care what I'm drawing when I'm drawing in pencil. I just have fun with it. I love it. You know. Honestly, with work, I rarely care. Like, I don't look at a project and be like, ugh, I don't want to draw that thing, you know? Like, I don't know, I don't approach it that way at all. At the end of the day, I love different challenges, and all of it makes me better, hopefully, as an artist. And at the end of the day, if we can just put more art out in the world, I think that's a good thing. I don't really care what kind of art it is. It's just, you know, the world could use more art. Hey, thanks, Cross. Appreciate that. A little bit of color on her spilled wine, or cider is what we decided. I decided because I'm drinking cider. Let's see, I feel like the exposure is just a little, like that's a little better. Maybe if we, I can't just like, I could just hold this piece of paper just off camera. That's a bit more value-wise what I'm seeing. I feel like that's maybe a little bit light. Yeah, but I do want to address those shadows. What time is it? 4:50. Okay, got a little bit of time still. Like, I don't want to go too crazy with this time-wise. Let's do 90%. Yeah. I think she also had some marks there that were bugging me. And then one of the things that I'd often like to do And it's just sort of a little cheat to I feel like it's kind of an old school sort of cheat, and it's just to drive the focus, and it's just doing these kind of radial lines in the shadows, you know, that are all kind of pointing to her. Although I like the air and the shadows on her, so I don't really want to do that on her. But I'm gonna sharpen up my 70. There's my 70. You want to sharpen up some of this stuff back here. Sorry. Just had to answer girlfriend about dinner. So I just want to sharpen up some of this stuff back here. And then I think the last thing will be just using white pencil to just sort of finalize some little highlights and stuff. So this is the 70% gray, by the way. The nice thing with this is that you know it's, because it's only a 70%, it is never going to get as dark as the black. So it's sort of like a built-in atmospheric perspective, right? That where you don't have to worry about like severely controlling the pressure and all that stuff. You know, I could go as dark as I want or as hard as I want with this, and it's never gonna get as dark as the black lines. So that's why I like to use it. Just anything that kind of has that built-in control and you know, takes sort of some of the not the pressure off, but it's like then I don't have to think about it and I can think about other things. You know, I can concentrate on it for other things. So and it's also nice for unifying some of the shadows as well. Oh, by the way, Bato, yes, I'm still working from home, thankfully. I'm assuming, sorry, I wasn't keeping up on the chat there. The mindset, I'm assuming you mean like where it doesn't really matter what you're drawing, it's just kind of getting a good drawing out of it. For me, what it was, really, it was my first internship that I did was at EA out in Florida. And, it's like a bunch of people were competing for the internship, and they interviewed, they like kind of narrowed it down to a few of us, and because it was from different schools, like a bunch of different schools were competing for the internship. And then they had phone interviews with us, with the sort of finalists, I guess. And they told me, like, on the phone, they're like, we would kind of like convene and discuss, but we already know, like, we want to offer it to you. And I wasn't sure because it meant 3 months out in Florida, right? And I live in California, and I was just like, man, I don't know, because EA Tiburon, right? EA out in Florida was, at the time, was mostly EA Sports. And I didn't really give a shit about sports. And I told him, I was like, I'm not really a sports fan, and I don't know, like, if I would be a good fit. And the art director there, or the creative director on the VizDev team, told me, he's like, honestly, I'm not a sports fan either. But at the end of the day, I figure no matter what we're drawing, whether it's a fantasy illustration or sci-fi or sports, we're just drawing and painting people doing things. At the end of the day, like, it's that simple. And I was kind of like, you're right. Like, why does it matter? And one of the things that also changed my mind is then when I got there, I was working on NFL Street 2, right? So I was helping them do load screen illustrations. Super fun, but like high action sports, but sports with like super power-ups and all that stuff. So it was action, total action illustrations, and yet they were just holding a football instead of a sword or something like that, And that really, like, sort of changed my outlook on just like art in general and what I enjoy drawing. And also over the years, like, I mean, I've sketched on stuff for, Game of Thrones, like helping to design the key art for that, the posters. I've sketched on in Outlander. I sketched on Darksiders back in the day. The first Monster Hunter, Elder Scrolls, right? The circular thing, the glyph of the three, the dragon, the eagle, and the lion, or whatever. Like, that original one is actually based on my design. And like, I've sketched on all kinds of things, and yet the stuff that I've had the most fun with was sometimes projects that I didn't care about. I mean, to this day, one of my favorite projects to sketch on was Pretty Little Liars. Like, I don't care about that show. I don't think I've ever seen an episode of it. I've seen parts, here and there. But the photo shoots were literally just like pretty girls wearing awesome clothes, like couture kind of clothing. And I used to want to do fashion design back in the day. So, I was like, dude, this is awesome. And I actually had more fun with that than I did with Game of Thrones. Like, Game of Thrones was not really that fun to sketch on. We did an awesome illustration that never got approved for finish, unfortunately. That was super fun, but the actual I don't know, sketching on it was just a pain in the ass. Yeah, Pretty Little Liars. Like, What the hell? You know? So I think sometimes we get caught up in like, no, this is the type of stuff that I like to draw. This is the type of stuff I like to paint. And when you get into it, you know, because for me, when I'm doing stuff for work, like if I just focus on it, on the project, like the property that I'm working on, then the fact that I dislike a property could affect my drawings, and I can't afford that, right? They depend on me to basically have like a 95% consistency rate across the board on my sketches, you know? And so what I focus on then is pushing myself in terms of my mark making, my efficiency, my lighting, if it's an illustration, my use of color. And so I focus on the process and all the things that culminate into an image, right? That come together to make an image. Those are the things I focus on rather than the subject matter. Because if you get too caught up in the subject matter, chances are, yeah, you're gonna be like, ugh, you know, I don't like this. Like, come on, sketching on Succession for HBO? Holy crap. No. But I can get good sketches out of it because I focus on the mark making, the lighting. They like moody shit. So, and I love doing moody shit. You know, so I think sometimes we have to sort of trick ourselves. Colado Samu. I always get that wrong. Colado Samu. I'm doing well. How are you doing? I'm actually about to wrap up here because I gotta get ready to get to girlfriend's place and have dinner and cocktails. Debating where I want to. I am Amelie. Hello, Amelie. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I do want to sort of create a bit of separation really quick. I could noodle and noodle and noodle, and I really shouldn't, but you know, I want a bit of separation between this stuff that is closer to us here and our girl Silvio, our little smart-ass elf. And I still haven't decided if she's actually just kind of an asshole. Or if she's always like in the right, you know? And I feel like it might be a little bit of both. Like she's not always in the right. Like sometimes she's just kind of an asshole and she just feels like proving a point. I don't know what that point is. That muscles don't get you everything. That's her point. Silly alpha orcs. I am using Restream. Oh, thank you, Miguel. I appreciate it. Glad you like it. I'm having fun with it. We're gonna wrap up here in just a couple minutes, but I'm kind of just noodling little things that feel like they need some noodle. Little things that I don't know if they matter, but I like them, and it's kind of that. I'd like to think of things in like levels of interest, you know? So ideally, I can get like 3 levels of interest into a piece, right? So you take that first glance and you kind of get the gist of you know what's happening, the story and the placement of the figures, and then then you can kind of get in and see some of the, maybe the costume elements and the candles and some expressions as like the second layer of interest. And then you can kind of go deeper, hopefully to like a third layer where you're getting some of these things that are really describing some of the forms, but in a way that isn't intrusive, right? That you're only going to notice once you really like stop to take a closer look. And to me, like if I can get that, then I can have a piece finished. I can have a piece feel finished, and not just feel like, oh, okay, that's what he could do in almost 4 hours, 3 hours and 45 minutes. Damn, it's been a long stream, huh? I don't usually stream this long. That's cool. I wanted to actually start and finish the piece on stream, so I just really thought it was only going to take like 2.5 to 3 hours. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Okay, my friends, I gotta call it. No, this it's kind of free drawing. It's a character that I've drawn before, but it's just one of my own silly characters. Like, she's not a serious character design, right? Her leather bikini, but sometimes you just gotta have fun and not take yourself too seriously. Plus, I just like her as a character. She's fun. She's fun. So yeah, it's not from like anything in particular. Just my own amusing musings, right? So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining. I'm glad you could make it, since you like her character. Yeah. I will be back on Monday. I don't know. Is there anyone we can raid? Do you know? Well, Reagan's still going. We can raid Reagan. He's always doing cool stuff. I will be back Monday evening. And Monday evening at 7 p.m. Los Angeles time. Everyone on YouTube, I will see y'all Monday. We're gonna go raid somebody on Twitch. Everyone on Twitch can hang out for the raid and then say hi to Reagan and Bale. John, peace, brother. All right, my friends, we'll catch y'all later. Raid time.